Another week, boys, and another twab. This one actually has some Sandbox news. First up, Bungie states right here, we're already into week 3 of Season of the Undying. The Iron Banner is up and running, and we have some new things lined up for next week. Master Nightmare hunts begin, and these will be the most difficult nightmare hunts to date, so equip your best weapons and gear. That's not all though. The exotic quest for Leviathan's Breath will also go live for all Season Pass owners, and rumor has it that Banshee knows something about where to start. Alright then, the Heavy Bow Leviathan's Breath will be in our hands next Tuesday, which is excellent. I'm excited about that one, but let's talk about the Nightmare hunts real quick. First up, I think this is also going to be another way for us to get pinnacle gear, but inside of the collection database, we've got a glimpse at some of the new mods that should be dropping next week. I don't think they're dropping now. They're called Supreme mods. One is Supreme Nightmare Banisher, which grants additional damage to your super against Nightmare bosses. The other one is Supreme Nightmare Breaker, grants additional damage against enemy shields created by Nightmare bosses. And the final one is Supreme Nightmare Crusher, grants additional damage to your melee and grenade abilities against Nightmare bosses. Now these Supreme mods, they seem pretty cool. I think the big speculation for some of us that covers the sandbox, will something like Supreme mods ever hit us in other areas? Like currently right now we have enhanced hand cannon targeting. Would there ever be a point where we may actually see Supreme hand cannon targeting or Supreme ashes to assets? You know what I mean? There's a multitude of options here that can become Supreme. Not saying it's going to be those specifically, but that may be something that Bungie looks into as rewards for these more higher level pinnacle activities. Now moving on, back to the TWAB. Next week, we've got a Bungie bounty on PlayStation 4. It's going to be on October 19th from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Pacific. And if you happen to be playing some Strikes, Vex Offensive, or maybe a little bit of Crucible, and match up with the Big Show and Bungie squad, you'll be able to get this emblem. Now, let's get into Sandbox, because this is the big one. First up, Bungie states we have a few tweaks coming to the Combat Sandbox in Update 2.6.1, which is currently targeted to be deployed on October 29th. Here's the Destiny dev team to give you the details. Super Energy refunding kills. Bungie states for a while now, Trample and Everlasting Flames have been an outlier, especially in PvP. We've previously done a pass to add diminishing returns to this, but it's proven to not be enough. In this update, we've tightened the curve a bit and split it out over PvE and PvP. This should allow Guardians to keep dunking on combatants for longer while being less oppressive against one another. Additionally, for Striker, we've increased the cost of the light attack to make dashing across the map a little less forgiving. We still want this to be used as a way to run people down or dodge and be shifty, but this change should make it costly enough as to be prohibitive as a form of long-distance travel. Finally, regeneration will no longer proc on melee kills while in the super. This combination was just too strong and overly forgiving of strategic or positional mistakes. Well, hot damn. Alright, before we get into my thoughts, let's just go over Trample. Essentially, guys, Trample was a subclass ability found on Bottom Tree Striker that allowed you to extend your Fist of Havoc the more enemies you killed. Now, the way its curve worked is like, if you got kills at the beginning of your super, you could almost like keep your super indefinitely. But as your super got closer to running out, it would taper off, not rewarding you as much super energy upon kill. That was the first time that they balanced Trample. It used to just be a consistent flat rate across the board, which yes, was definitely overpowered. Now Bungie states right here that they tuned the amount of super energy that returns per kill. Reduce amount return possible per kill from 15% to 13% before, of course, the diminishing returns, and that is when you get past pretty much that half super mark. They also reduce the low end of the diminishing return from 5% to 3.25%, so it's going to be even steeper here. They changed the kills for the diminishing returns by splitting them out between players and combatants. Previously, it was 15 kills. Now it is 14 combatants or 7 player kills. Players count for 2 times toward diminishing returns. Also, the cost of the light attack in Super increased by 50% from 2% to now 3%. And finally, regeneration on kill no longer procs on super kills. Alright, wow, it's not even a double whammy, man. It's just hitting it from all angles. And I know so many people have been wanting to see Bottom Tree Striker nerfed. It's a good subclass all around. It's got great neutral game, it's got a great super. This is pretty steep though. First up, they're splitting this between PvE and PvP. The fact that 1 kill difference from 15 to 14 against combatants inside of PvE, it's not a big difference. Now, you will start to feel the diminishing returns be a little steeper, as that super regeneration will no longer give you 5%, but instead 3.25%. And then on the front end, you're only going to get 13% instead of 15%. So all of these things are going to trickle, man. It's going to be immediately noticeable how less this super actually lasts now. On top of that, the regeneration no longer proccing while you're in your super is crazy. This super is actually really easy to shut down. A couple of shotguns, maybe even a shotgun and a melee, can shut this super down. The problem that people found, though, was of course the regeneration, which normally resulted in that Guardian having full health, if not close to it, as they engage from target to target. This is a major change to Striker Code of the Juggernaut, guys. Yeah, okay. Well, for my fellas that main this subclass, well, at least the neutral game's still good. But that super, I'm gonna go and say right now, it's gonna be garbage. Watch what I say. Moving on. Dawnblade Attunement of Flame. This is bottom tree Dawnblade. It has the perk Everlasting Flames. Now, Everlasting Flames, again, similar there to Trample, allowed you to extend your Daybreak super with each kill. Now, the TWAB here states that they tune the amount of super energy return per kill, although it's handled differently than Striker, as this attacks in an AoE. Increase the low end of diminishing returns from 0.75% to 0.95%. Change the kills for the diminishing returns by splitting them out between players and combatants. Previously, it was 30 kills. Now it is 21 combatant kills or 7 player kills. Players count for 3 times toward that diminishing return. Hot damn. Okay. Wow, that is a huge one right there too. One, I didn't even know it was previously 30. That's crazy. That means you could get 30 kill before ever reaching those diminishing returns. That's what it is currently. Now, it's 7 kills. Now, I think this is still gonna be good. If there's one main benefit about Dawnblade Attunement of Flame over something like Striker Code of the Juggernaut, is the amount of area that bottom tree Dawnblade can cover when you're in your super. The ability to pretty much move from one side of the map to the other in like 0.5 seconds. This super should be good. I mean, you're still gonna get kills. It just won't be as forgiving as it is now. It definitely did not seem to be hit nearly as hard here as Striker Code of the Juggernaut. All right, those are your main sandbox changes, guys, coming to subclasses. This is Bungie's way of kind of tapering those subclasses that have returning super energy on kills. Outside of that, we've got some quality of life bug fixes. Sentinel Code of the Protector, which is top path. Ward of Dawn, Armor of Light Timer now correlates with the life of the Ward of Dawn. Particle FX move more rapidly towards the end of Ward of Dawn's life. Okay, so that's a good visual cue. Night Stalker, Way of the Wraith. This is middle path. Shattering Strike fixed a bug in which Shattering Strike activation window was reduced to 3 seconds along with True Sight. Shattering Strike lasts the proper 9 seconds once again. And again, that is the perk that allows our Night Stalker there on middle tree to apply a debuff to enemies and weaken them. It was somehow tied to True Sight in terms of its duration. And considering that that got nerfed going into the sandbox, at least until this sandbox coming up, it was also being affected in terms of duration. So this is good. It's getting fixed. Moving on though. Shoulder Charge. Oh no. No. Bungie, say it ain't so. We've removed a bug that allowed players to shoot immediately before activating Shoulder Charge, which allowed players to apply the 1-2 punch damage buff to Shoulder Charge. This bug was caused by a quality of life change made for Tempest Strike. Before Shadowkeep, if players had the sprint button configured as hold to sprint, then they would need to be holding the sprint button while sliding in order to activate Tempest Strike. With the release of Shadowkeep, we added a small window of time where players could activate Tempest Strike after letting go of the sprint button. This change had unexpected effects on other melee abilities, so we have reverted this change until we can find a better fix for Tempest Strike. Oh my god. Bungie's is out here breaking my heart today. Like, I knew it was coming, and yes, it is a little too powerful. I get it. But Jesus, was it not fun? This has been the funnest 3 weeks in PvE of my life. Now, the reason why they got themselves in this situation, Tempest Strike is found on middle tree Arc Strider. It's the melee ability that when sliding, upon activating your melee ability, you release this wave of arc damage. Actually, a pretty cool animation. Previously, there was a bug where you had to be sliding and sprinting at the same time or holding the two in order for it to activate. I guess they tried to fix it going into Shadowkeep, thus resulting in us on the Titan class being able to actually land a shotgun shot off and shoulder charge in air at the same time. Sad times, boys. Sad times. Now, Bungie left us a note here. We're also aware of the feedback about other abilities and gear not mentioned above. We have our eye on One-Eyed Mask. Expected change in a future update. Okay. All right. One-Eyed Mask is going to get another nerf. Man, Titans, y'all just got all kinds of bad news today. One-Eyed Mask is getting nerfed. Bottom tree Striker's getting a hell of a nerf. We can't grieve and 1-2 punch no more. It's just all around bad news for us. Damn it! Now moving on, we've got patch note previews here. Along with the sandbox changes we've already mentioned, we have a preview of some of the other patch notes coming in update 2.6.1. Forsaken subclasses will display the correct super icon in the PvP HUD for the following subclasses. All right then, you'll be able to specifically see, I guess, the actual subclass that player is rocking. Cool. They're also gonna fix a bug where warlocks who wagered weak motes and reckoning were incorrectly being rewarded Titan gear. Law! That's right. Even the game wants you to take the dress off and put that Titan gear on. Fixed a bug that increased loading times for gear preview while in spaceflight. Players should notice their character models update more quickly while changing gear, previewing ornaments, or previewing shaders during spaceflight. The Phantasmal core stack has also been raised from 3 to 999. It's quite an increase. Now, Steam is also getting some changes here, which essentially should allow us to add people more easily, as well as invite and appear offline or online or invisible. I don't know. A lot of things that we used to have on battle.net is now being moved over to Steam. So you'll be able to take advantage of those / command keys, which are extremely nice. Okay, moving on into Armour 2.0. We've actually got some developer insight into why some of the changes were made or put in place here with Armour 2.0. First up, Armour Affinity and their associated mods. Bungie states, we have seen feedback suggesting that instead of locking mods into an energy type, the affinity should simply be a discount on energy cost of the mod. It's actually what the broad category mods such as rifle loader, precision weapon targeting, etc. are meant to represent. A higher cost for gaining the benefit with a weapon not normally associated with that energy type. So instead of having to display every mod for that slot, when you move your cursor over the socket, you see only the 2 to 3 broad category mods in that socket, plus the ones with energy types associated with it. Of course, not every mod type got a broad category version, notably the mod types that affect the ammo economy. That's because any mods that tinker with the ammo economy have a lot of caveats and exceptions, mostly due to weapons that use ammo types not normally associated with that weapon archetype, such as Ariana's Vow, the Mountaintop, Whisper of the Worm, and so forth. We needed a bit more time to build the broad category versions of these mods and test them thoroughly, but at the start of next season, there will be a broad category mods for both the Ammo Finder and Ammo Scavenger categories, and they will be automatically unlocked for all players. This should help round out your builds more easily and give you more options for tinkering with your ammo, no matter what armor energy type you use. We're also working on some broad category ammo capacity mods, but those need some work before they are ready for prime time. All right, yeah, I would say on those things, when it comes to ammo economy, even if they cost a little bit more, just having them present for those times that you are min-maxing your armor pieces, you know, to suddenly get to the end and like have a min-max build and then be like, dadgummit, I don't got the correct affinity. So essentially, guys, these general mods will be present next season, at least those affecting Scavenger and Ammo Finder. Now, Bungie also states that they're also making a big change coming up, which will loosen the stacking restrictions on Armour 2.0 mods. Starting next season, the restrictions on having multiple mods of the same type in a single piece of armor will be removed, with a few exceptions. So now we'll be able to run things like hand cannon loader mods together and stack them, as well as 2 shotgun ammo finder mods together and stack them, and so forth. The only exceptions to this stacking comes from mods that provide no benefit when stacked, such as fastball and traction. We needed a little more time to make sure that stacking mods wouldn't cause any major technical issues, and think that stacking mods at the same time gives more flexibility in crafting your build, provided you have the armor energy to spend in socketing them. Now, one thing to be aware of when mod stacking, in most cases, stacking up identical mods will provide diminishing returns on their effectiveness. For example, 2 hand cannon loader mods don't provide twice the benefit. Instead, they provide about 1.5 times the benefit. However, this puts them on equal footing with enhanced mods. So 2 hand cannon loader mods provide the equivalent benefit of a single enhanced hand cannon loader. We're also going to be lowering the energy costs of some of the armor mods to better reflect the value of an enhanced mod. All right then, those are good changes. That's also a great way to look at it. Essentially, so 2 hand cannon loader mods is the equivalent of an enhanced mod. I wonder how they're going to change up the cost economy here. Are they going to be dead even? Like, is the cost of 2 hand hand cannon loader mods are going to be the equivalent of 1 enhanced hand cannon loader mod, which is currently 6, right? I think it's 6, 5, 6. It's going to be interesting how they change that though. Now, one last bit of news on Armour 2.0. When we created the system, we wanted to include Armour mods in collections so you could see how many you have gathered and where they can be acquired. This also presented a good opportunity to do some housekeeping on the collections tab in general, but unfortunately proved to be a little more time intensive than we hoped. So the changes didn't come alongside Shadowkeep. Good news though, in 2.6.1 patch coming later this month, Armour mods will be visible in your collections, allowing you to browse through all the possibilities and see which ones you have already collected. Additionally, starting next season, the Armour mod collections will get a UI upgrade, allowing them to display Armour energy type and cost on the icon, just like they do in your Armour socket. Man, I'm really happy that that's actually going to happen because there are people that are overwhelmed right now by Armour 2.0. So this is a great way to just know what you have currently unlocked, and then when they actually make the UI change, people will be able to see which affinity to be looking for each of these mods. Now, for the time being, if you are interested in which mods you have unlocked, simply go to Destiny Item Manager, you have it downloaded, and go to your collections tab. It will show all of the mods you have found and all the mods you have not found. It's a great way to already visually see it right now. Unfortunately, they don't have the UI update that shows the affinity yet, but neither will Bungie, at least for update 2.6.1. Outside of that, guys, that is pretty much the entire TWAB. We've got some sandbox changes coming our way, potential nerf for One-Eyed Mask, and I don't know if that's actually going to ship out with 2.6.1. I would say it's going to ship out no later than next season. Like, it's going to have to happen either at the beginning of next season or whatever sandbox that actually ships right before that season launches. And as far as these supers and their diminishing returns, we'll just have to play with them and see, man. Again, October 29th is when these sandbox details roll out, as well as some of the changes there to Armour 2.0 to make it a little easier to understand. We'll be covering all of it, guys. Fellas and ladies, thank you all for coming and watching, and as always,
slap that like button like your mama told you right.